I've been thinking for a while about structuring my thoughts, so there it is. Just to be clear, I believe that the following playstyle changes and perk picks are better than what's currently considered meta in the community. Usually people play Iron Will and Dash in active perks, Resupplier, Born Ready, and Vampire in passives. So today we're gonna make some adjustments to that. Now, just as a heads up, this video is mostly oriented towards modded players who are playing difficulties way harder than Hazard 5. But even if you're a vanilla player, you might still find this video useful. For the context, it's pretty common for most difficulties there to have relatively high regeneration and revive health ratio compared to vanilla values. Combat is very hard, and some of the enemies are insanely OP, so over the course of a long mission, it's inevitable that someone is going to die, regardless of how good of a player they are. You've seen the thumbnail, so let's jump straight to the main topic of this video. You don't need Dash in coordinated teams. It's better to play Iron Will and Field Medic instead on all classes. After analyzing my own gameplay and gameplay of other people, I came to the conclusion that Dash is simply not necessary if you have good team coordination. Dash has been considered the strongest perk in the game for a while now, even stronger than Iron Will, because it can save you multiple times during a mission. Some people think about it as a base feature and cannot imagine playing without it. I've been running Dash myself for a very long time. If you watch any of my older videos, you'll notice, but recently things have changed, and I'll explain why. The main argument in taking Dash is that it can sometimes save you from dying. It's a get out of jail free card, which is a valid point, but it's a bit more complex than it seems at first. Dash is a massive overkill in a lot of scenarios, and you don't need it for that reason. You can kite around without it just fine. I see a lot of people crushing on Dash instead of trying to figure out mistakes with their movement. When I stopped playing Dash, I realized that my movement and positioning improved a lot. And on the other hand, often in modern top tier difficulties, it's just not enough. If you're failing combat, even if you manage to survive against some very OP enemy, you're most likely going to die anyway within 5 to 15 seconds after your dash, after which team would need to stabilize. You also hurt your team cohesion if you dash on the opposite side of the tunnel or room for your own safety, while the rest of your team is holding it together in the same spot. I've been in such scenarios so many times. One person goes down, then the rest are forced to use their utility like C4s, shields, or unnecessary dump more ammo for safety, just to secure one revive, which very often results in a chain reaction, where the entire team just falls apart trying to revive one person, so then someone has to waste their Iron Will. As a result, wasted will, wasted ammo, wasted pacing. Basically you're just being selfish by picking Dash, because in most cases it brings nothing for a team as a whole. In a scenario where everybody plays Field Medic, you can just die close to your teammates, and it's significantly easier to secure the revive because of the speed and fear value. The worst case scenario, one person has to use their active Field Medic, which is honestly not that bad, considering that you have 4 Field Medics in the team and you still have the passive side of the perk for the rest of the mission. If you combine Will and Field Medic, you're pretty much guaranteed to secure at least 2 revives, which can be enough to stabilize even the worst scenarios. It's very important though that everyone in the team runs Field Medic. This way you're stacking your revive speed and you're guaranteed to proc fear. If someone is not running Field Medic, they can steal the revive and then the fear is not going to proc. Also, on the Field Medic fear mechanic, it bypasses the immunity on enemies, which means that you can fear bulks or oppressors, for example. The main issue is that your body needs to be within around 2 meters from an enemy, otherwise it's not going to proc. Now, because of that, you can sacrifice Vampire for something more useful. The only reason to play Vampire in the first place is to revive yourself with Iron Will. It could be useful in Driller, but I could still argue for other perks. So it's only useful in that one specific scenario, where everyone goes down and you have to clutch, so let's talk about that specific scenario. With Will and Field Medic, you can secure 2 revives. After that your Iron Will is going to expire. If the situation is really bad, then one of your teammates can use active Field Medic, but pretty often Gunner's Shield or Driller's C4 is enough to chain revive you back. Only downside is that you can't revive yourself if you're isolated from your team, but on all classes except Scout that shouldn't happen in the first place, so it's not really a perk's fault. So what are we replacing Vampire with? You have 3 very decent options. Unstoppable. There are a lot of elemental slowdowns in biomes, and especially with custom enemies. On top of that, it works against slashers. What else could you ask for? Considering that you don't have a dash, it's pretty decent compensation. At least you're not gonna get grunted after getting hit once by a slasher. Sometimes you can even tank slowdowns on purpose to achieve better positioning if you calculate it properly. Then you have elemental insulation, especially if you're playing as engineer, because it stacks with your armor resistance. Some of the damage types were reworked back in Season 5, you can check it on Wiki for more detailed info, but here we're talking mostly because of Acid Spitters, Praetorians, Septic Spuddles, and Speedballers or Nuke Ballers AoE from projectiles. It complements our Field Medic playstyle very well, because we're able to stick the Revive in some scenarios where otherwise it's impossible, like in Praetorian's Gas or Radiation Field, etc, etc. And another good option is Sweet Tooth, because it gives you 20% move speed for 10 seconds after grabbing sugar, and can save you in clutches a lot. It's very situational because sometimes the cave just doesn't have any sugar or it spawns in very awkward spots, so realistically only Scout can consistently benefit from that perk, but you could also play it on Driller if you're running EPC with TCF. Alternatively, you can also keep Vampire, but you can drop Born Ready if you're playing Driller or Gunner, depending on your loadout. For example, in most comps, Driller only needs to reload his primary, and Gunner only needs to reload his VB. Also, you can play reload speed in tier 1 on VB instead of accuracy, but that might be a topic for another video. There's a good point to be made about bringing Dash on Gunner and the Driller because of shield and C4. In that case, Dash acts like an upgrade for your utility tool, allowing you to achieve more precise placement and timing, and increasing the range of the throw. I've played a lot of games on Gunner with Dash and Field Medic. I have to say that in some cases it can save the mission and allow Gunner to carry hard. You can pick it if you're 100% sure that you're able to stay alive, and if you're really familiar with the difficulty. But for most players and in coordinated teams, Iron Will is a much safer pick. So, summing up, there's perks that I choose for every class. Iron Will and Field Medic on actives, always resupply in passives. For Scout, it's Vampire and Born Ready or Sweet Tooth. Engineer, it's Born Ready and Elemental Insulation. Gunner, Unstoppable and Born Ready or Vampire. Driller, Unstoppable and Elemental Insulation or Sweet Tooth. That's gonna be it for today's video. I appreciate you making up to this point. Make sure to leave your feedback, and I hope you're gonna stop playing Dash after this video.